And so I've been afforded that opportunity to recruit. Then I was able to promote and move up as a team lead. Now I lead a team of recruiters who do the same thing. I get to coach, I get to mentor, which plays along with my gifts. And so I love this industry. If you're someone that is, you may start off as a truck driver, but you may want to be a diesel mechanic, or you may want to be a driver manager, or you may want to be somewhere in safety. There's room for you here in the trucking industry.
Hey, this is Lindsey Trent with the Next Gen Talks. And I am super excited today because I have Brian Dupor from DB Schenker. They were recently purchased from USA Truck. And we are really looking forward to our conversation to learn about Brian, his passion, what he does currently. Thank you for being on the show, Brian.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lindsey, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, so tell me, how did you get into trucking, Brian?
Well, first of all, I come from a family of truckers, a line of truckers. It's in
Love
my
it.
blood. It's my inheritance. My father, he was an owner operator for over 30 years, 40 years. He did that to the day he actually died, trucking. He always told me, son, I want them to, when I die, I want my hands to be on the steering wheel of a truck. And he lived that out. He spoke it. My dad was a great man, taught me all about trucking. I got the chance to see the business aspect of it, the ups, the downs of the freight market, and see my dad overcome it all. So my dad, his father actually was in trucking. So my grandpa was a owner operator as well. So we come from a long line of truckers. My whole
You could not
family.
possibly do anything else besides trucking.
It came right back full circle. I had to come back around.
Yep. Wow. And so your father and your grandfather, it's totally in your blood. So how did you start off in trucking and what has been your career path?
So I actually started off into trucking after I discharged from the military.
Mhm.
My skills with the military trained me to do did not transfer into the civilian world. So
Mm.
I had to find a new skill, a new trade to basically make a living for myself now. And I saw this ad. It was a quick, little ad that popped up on my phone, and about trucking. And I was like, you know what? I always had a passion for trucking. I seen my dad do it. I know it's great money, right? So
Mhm.
let me get off into that. And so I enrolled into a trucking school and completed that course. And then, ironically, the first company to sponsor me
Mhm.
was USA Truck, which is the company that DB Schenker has acquired, right? So USA Truck is the one that gave me my first start as a driver first.
Wow. So you started into the trucking industry working for the company that you're still employed by.
Correct.
So what
Correct.
did that path look like for you? One of the things we want young people to know is that you have so many opportunities to grow your career, whether you stay an owner operator and drive your entire career, or you go into management positions. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was young, right? Impatient, young. I wanted to, go straight and get to the money, so to speak, as my young people would say. And I done that. I got into the truck. I was on the road. I was an over the road driver. Got a chance to travel and do that whole piece, and I enjoyed it, especially if you're single. Trucking over the road can be a great opportunity for you. If you're married, like I was at the time, I was a young married person. It could be strenuous
Mhm.
as rewarding. So keep that in mind when you're going into trucking, because you're away from home a lot. It's a sacrifice you're making, but it was worth it. Um, but the money aspect of it was going great, but I wasn't home a lot, and that may be a barrier for some people starting out, and it was a barrier for me. So I chose to get off of the road and start doing trucking locally
Mhm.
with my father and do business. So, I had to leave over the road and come back home because I had to do the family life. I needed to be
Mhm,
home more, and that's something, like I said, to consider when you're going over the road. And so I joined forces with my dad, reunited with my dad. We did the local opportunity with dump trucks. And
mhm.
that's one thing about the trucking industry. When you have that CDL, you can go off into flatbed, dump trucks, reefers, all types. That the industry is so vast and so wide. And so I was able to do that with me and my dad. And so I ran the business. We did the business. And then I wanted to change.
Yeah,
I
that's the
left
other
that.
benefit. You can change and reinvent yourself and do different things.
Absolutely. And so, as young as I was, I enjoyed the aspect of talking to people and connecting with people more. And so I began to branch off into doing that. And I noticed people would come to ask me for advice and, you know,
Mm.
um, you know, to bring solutions and different things like that. So I found the knack for consulting and being kind of a counselor in the trucking industry. And so I started doing that, and I actually was able to open up my own recruiting firm, CNC's Association. Uh, that was my platform to do business and consulting, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
And you still do some consulting, right?
Correct. I do consulting on the side for small business owners, trucking entrepreneurs that want to small to mid-sized businesses. That's in the sphere as well, because it's not always major companies like the company I work with now. There's other owner operators and their fleets that they have out there. So it's enough freight and enough monetary gain for everyone. Put it like that.
Absolutely. So you started off, you were over the road. What were some of the sites that you saw that really opened your eyes to America?
I would say like Wyoming,
Mm.
Colorado, that the western part. The eastern part is nice as well. Pennsylvania. I
Mhm,
was already familiar with the South because I'm from the South.
mhm.
But to get to see that Northwest, the beautiful mountains and different things like that, it's amazing. And so I love the travel. I love the feeling of, I might be in Texas one day and the next day I'm in a whole nother state. Might be in Carolina or Georgia. Just that open country. I love it. I love it.
And I think that is such an appealing thing about trucking, and even for young people, because that might be something that they wanna experience for a few years, and then it's family time. And there are opportunities within trucking for local jobs. And so you said you worked at a local job doing working with dump trucks. Was there any other local type jobs that you ever got involved with?
For me, yes, I've done flatbed,
Mhm,
hauling lumber, just different things like that. Pipe, for
mhm.
companies doing delivery. So there's a lot of local opportunities, especially if you're young. If you're 18, 19 years old, you can't go out of state anyway. So
Right.
that's the law. You have to be intrastate instead of interstate, and so you have the local opportunities afforded to you where you can gain that experience as well, which is a plus. And then once you turn 21, you can go, over the road and see the country if that's what you so choose to do.
Yeah, I have a friend who his son got a CDL at 18,
Mhm.
and he worked for a local company, stayed within his state the entire time until he was 21. And then he is now 23. He's been driving. He's literally gone to all 48 lower states,
Awesome.
and he's got a girlfriend now. And so now he's kind of starting to
All
think
right.
maybe it's time to like start going local again. And
Yeah,
that is the thing. There's so many job opportunities. There's so much room for growth as well in
absolutely.
trucking. And so tell us a little bit about what you do now, and how your career path has taken you to where you are today.
So one of the things that I love about the trucking industry, you don't have to stay stuck. You can always evolve and grow. And I was able to grow from a truck driver to actually recruiting truck drivers. And so I began on a path to recruit truck drivers. I love the opportunity to be able to talk to so many people from all over the country and to give them a life-changing opportunity. That's
Mhm.
what we call it here, life-changing opportunities. And we get to help people to start their career or advance their career. And so I've been afforded that opportunity to recruit. Then I was able to promote and move up as a team lead. Now I lead a team of recruiters who do the same thing. I get to coach, I get to mentor, which plays along with my gifts. And
Mm.
so I love this industry. If you're someone that is, you may start off as a truck driver, but you may want to be a diesel mechanic, or you may want to be a driver manager, or you may want to be somewhere in safety. There's room for you here in the trucking industry.
Mhm. Yeah, and such a great way to start off is being a driver. And there's plenty of people like your dad who was a driver all the way through their entire career and loved it. It gets in your blood, and you've got to be on the road. You've got to be driving. Um,
Absolutely.
my husband's grandfather, he drove for 50 plus years, and he
Wow.
loved every minute. It just gets in your blood. So the jobs that you guys offer at DB Schenker, you guys can have entry level jobs, so you don't have to have experience. Plus, you also hire experienced drivers. Is that the case?
Absolutely. So we do accept entry level drivers who have went through a trucking school,
Mhm.
and graduated and completed that course, and also passed their exam with the DMV. And we give you that real world training, not to minimize trucking schools, their training, but we give you that real world training to where you hands on over the road, and sharpen your skills, perfecting your backing, knowing how to appropriately log your hours and different
Mhm.
things like that to stay within compliance as well. So we teach you how to put all that you learned in trucking school into action, and really make a great career for yourself and do it safely.
Well, I think that's really important because most people want to be invested in. They want to that training that's going to take them to the next level, and that you guys offer that they're not just a number, get them out there to start making you money. You really want to invest in them as a company.
Absolutely. And in turn, by us investing into our students, we going on to see them actually become trainers and train other people that start in their careers. It's so rewarding to see someone that you brought in as a recruiter when they didn't have any experience, to see them go on to have successful careers as trainers, or go in to be an orientation specialist,
Mhm.
right? To go into these different fields or become their own business owner by being an owner operator. It's so
Mhm.
rewarding.
Yeah, it's not just about surviving, but thriving. And that's kind of how you and I met was you were like, "Hey, I'm going to a school. This is what I'm really passionate about is investing in young people." Tell us a little bit about your passion in investing in young people.
Absolutely. So, the youth is important. Let's just be honest. These are our future leaders. Honestly, these are some of our present leaders now. You don't have to wait till you're old enough to lead, right? And so when I look over my childhood and my youth, right, I was someone that was searching. I was
Mhm,
searching for something that would pique my interest. And sometimes there's not a lot of opportunities out there,
mhm,
right? And so one thing about trucking, I thought it was important for me to share my passion and my experience of trucking with the youth, to let them know, hey, some of y'all may not want to go to college, right? College is not for everybody. Can we
mhm,
just be honest? Right? But I can show you a more excellent way where you can train and you can start a lucrative, viable career and turn it into a business even if you want to. And the feedback that I received from the youth when I went out to the schools was amazing. They never even heard of it. They never knew that they could do such a thing, and they just needed that exposure. So the youth are very important to me. I share, especially for at-risk youth,
mm,
maybe some youth that haven't. had it so kosher, right? They didn't have that support. I just want to come alongside of them and support them and let them know, hey, we still believe in you. You still have a purpose. You still have value, and you
Mhm.
can make a profitable career for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, and one of the things that we have said is that we really started next gen for the industry, but we quickly saw how it changes these young people's lives, and we're like, "Wait, no, we started this for the young person because this is really making an impact in a person's life." And great, it's helping the industry, but our careers in the trucking industry can really elevate people and elevate these young kids' lives and get them on the right path for the future, and that's really what it's all about. So you decided, hey, I want to go and get into my local school and just show them the different opportunities out there. How did you do that? Like, who did you call? How did you get connected with a school? What did they say? How did they let you in? How did all that go?
Right. I'm a big believer in charity starts at home, right?
Mhm.
We a lot of times we try to go save the world, but we don't take the time to look in our own backyard.
Mhm.
Right. And so my son, I have a my eldest son, he goes to school. So I visited his school and I have relationships with them. They know my face, trust me. Uh
Mhm. Yeah.
and they just reached out to me. The coordinator reached out to me. It's like, Brian, we're having a career event and just want to know if you'll be interested. And I gave him my background, just like I'm doing with you, Lindsey, and they was excited. It was like, wow, we have no representative in the trucking industry,
Yeah.
and that amazed me. I'm like, wow, no representative in the trucking industry. I was like, well, hey, I'd love to be the first. And that's how it started. I got my opportunity to go there and to represent the trucking industry. And we had a great turnout and great feedback.
Yeah. So what'd you do when you were there? What'd you talk about?
So some of the things I talked about, for one, was that as a truck driver, not only is it a lucrative money wise, because they want money.
Mhm.
When you're young, you want to make the most money as possible.
Mhm.
But I also let them know that guess what, you're considered an essential worker. Right
Mm.
when
Yep.
COVID hit, if we can all remember, back in 2020 when COVID hit, I've watched many people that I know lose their jobs, get laid off. And,
Mhm.
and actually, you couldn't even work at a time if you were not considered or classified as an essential worker.
Yeah.
Um, but it was the truck drivers in the trucking industry that kept on trucking, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
We was classified as essential worker, and we was able to keep moving forward and drive America forward. And the kids, they really got a chance to open up their eyes to see because a lot of their parents were affected by that, and
Mm.
to see
Mm.
how, like, wow, if I can get into the trucking industry, I will be considered essential worker. I will be making a difference in my for America. I will be a hero in my community, driving it forward. And they really like the appeal of that, doing
Mm.
something that's valuable.
Yeah. So what kind of questions did they ask you?
Some of the questions was like, man, is this thing real? Like, can you really make that amount of money? I mean, what do I need to do to get started? Like, how do I do
Mhm.
that?
Practical,
And
yeah.
yeah, and it was amazed to believe that, hey, all you really need is a high school diploma. You can
Mhm.
start this right away after you graduate, and just enroll into a trucking school or community college that offers these programs.
Yeah, and so do you think it was worth your time? Do you think you made a difference?
To be honest, Miss Lindsay, I'm waiting for my next phone call. I loved it. It was
Oh, good.
definitely worth my time. So many questions, so much enthusiasm. I wasn't expecting that level of engagement, but they were very engaged. Even the teachers themselves was thinking about switching careers. Like, wait, I'm in a role field.
You're like, "Wait, you make that much money?
Yeah.
Okay."
Right. And it's the lifestyle as well. What job do you know where you can take your best friend to work with you through ride along programs?
Mhm.
Right. What job you have when you can bring your pet with you,
Right.
right? Through the
Absolutely.
pet program. So drivers, it's a sacrifice, but they really have a great, amazing lifestyle. It's not for everybody, but guess what? It's for somebody, and that somebody could be you.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And to go graduate from high school, to not go on to college. Maybe you go to college eventually, but maybe you want to work your way through college as a driver or just start driving. And maybe the company you work for is going to pay for your college education. You're going to be making really good money on your way to owning a car, maybe a
Absolutely.
motorcycle, a house, going on vacation. And that's
Absolutely.
definitely appealing as to opposed to friends who are paying off those student loans that seem like they take
Exactly.
forever to pay off.
And let's just be honest, and I'm not trying to bash college because college has its place. I went to college, but at the same time, you know, a college degree doesn't guarantee that you're going to make that amount of money. And how many people with bachelors come out and they're not making what an entry level driver makes?
Mhm.
Let's just be honest, right? So
Right.
it's something to consider, and I'm glad that you're taking the time to shed light on the trucking industry and bringing awareness to the opportunities. So, Lindsay, I just want to say thank you to all your hard work and you and your foundation, what you're doing, because it's very important.
Well, I appreciate that, but just like what you said, it is so fun once you go and start talking
Yes,
to students and just exposing them and really educating them. It's like, oh, this is actually fun. I wanna do this more often.
yes,
And I actually had this conversation yesterday with a person who's over career technical education for a whole school district, and she said that she had to tell her superintendent, trucking is actually a viable career where you can make a living wage, because the superintendent said, well, in trucking, you can't make a livable wage. So we shouldn't push trucking careers. So she did her research and came back and said, actually, no trucking here. This is livable wage career
yes.
choices. And so it is about educating influencers, educating young people, educating their parents, helping them to understand that it's a good career. There's a career path where they can have lots of different jobs, and it's a living wage where you're going to have a good life.
Absolutely. And I also, if you don't mind, Lindsay, I want to speak to those people who you may have made some poor decisions in your life, right? Maybe you've been incarcerated, right? Maybe you've done some things that you're not proud of, and you're looking to start all over. Guess what? The trucking industry is an industry that have saved many people lives that needed second chances. And I just want to let you know there's hope out there. Look into the trucking industry. There are many felon friendly companies that accept felons. So don't think it's the end for you if you have any interest in it. This is a viable career where you can start all over and make a difference.
Thank you for saying that, because we do want people to know that this is a great career opportunity, and we want to give second chances and third chances to people. That is what we are all about. I had a conversation today with somebody who said her cousin was in prison for drugs, came out, wanted to turn their life around, got into trucking, loves their jobs, been doing it for many years. They
Yeah,
just needed that opportunity.
that's
And
it.
so we believe in and spoke at the Correctional Education Association
Wow,
conference this year. And we have been working with several juvenile rehabilitation schools that are starting trucking programs and
that's
letting
amazing.
these young people know, hey, trucking careers might be for you. And we're really excited about those opportunities too. So thank you for pointing that out as well.
Absolutely.
So in terms of you got your feet wet, you talked to your son's school. What do you think you're going to do? Are you going to maybe try to seek out some other opportunities at schools and see if there's career fairs, or what are you thinking?
Definitely, this was an eye opener for me. I enjoyed the experience, and I'm looking for my next call. I want to speak to many schools. I want to speak to wherever they will open the door to allow me to bring this information, because more people need to know and be aware, and they need accurate information out there to make the best decision for themselves. But
Mhm.
I literally witnessed this industry, this opportunity that I get to present every day, change many people's lives, from homeless people
Mhm.
From military veterans that are transferring from the military to civilian life, to people that were formerly incarcerated that needed a chance to reenter society. I just want to share. When you have a pot of gold, you just want to share with everyone. And so, yes, I'm looking forward to anybody that will have their doors open. Yes, please invite me. I would love to come speak to your audience.
That is great. There's 26,000 high schools in the country, and it starts with working in your backyard and getting involved locally. And that's what it's all about. And that's what it's going to take as an industry for us to make a difference, is for those people that say, you know what, I'm going to give this a chance. Maybe working at a couple schools in their area and starting forming those relationships and going there a couple times a year to expose these students to the trucking industry. So thank you for doing your part and for making a difference. And, you might have had an impact on 10 young people's lives. Maybe it was just the one, but one person is important. And I think
Absolutely.
with careers in trucking, we have the opportunity to expose these young people to a great career and really help them get on the right path in life. So, Brian, thank you for talking with me today. And we appreciate all your hard work and your passion for the industry.
Likewise, Lindsay. Thank you for having me.